Hey there, welcome back to Cisco Reads Books. Today we got a review for you, and it is Monster Hunter Vendetta by Larry Correia. So I'll read you the back of the book, we'll see what we're in for. Owen Zastava Pitt, accountant turned professional monster hunter, managed to stop the nefarious Old One's invasion plans last year, but as a result made an enemy out of one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Now, an evil death cult, known as the Church of Temporary Mortal Condition, wants to capture Owen in order to gain the favor of the Great Old Ones. The condition is led by a fanatical necromancer known as the Shadow Man. The government wants to capture the Shadow Man and has assigned the enigmatic Agent Franks to be Owen's full-time bodyguard, which is a polite way of saying that Owen is monster bait. With supernatural assassins targeting his family, a spy in their midst, and horrific beasties lurking around every corner, Owen and the staff of Monster Hunter International don't need to go hunting because this time the monsters are hunting them. Fortunately, this bait is armed and very dangerous. So, from Publishers Weekly, they say, this lighthearted, testosterone-soaked sequel to 2009's Monster Hunter International will delight fans of action horror with an elaborate weaponry, hand-to-hand combat, disgusting monsters, and endless stream of blood and body parts. So, I loved book one. It was fantastic. This is book two. It is much funnier than book one. The humor in this book is just phenomenal. The portrayal of gnomes is just fantastic. They make them out to be like street thug gangsters. And it is the most I've ever laughed in a book ever. Reading it was funny. Listening to this book, that part in particular, because I had to see how they did it because the narrator who narrates the audiobooks for this series is just phenomenal. The way that they narrated the scene where you meet the gnomes for the first time, just chef's kiss gorgeous. They captured every bit of the mannerisms of street gangs, basically, and they put it on gnomes. Hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. But anyway, so we start off in Mexico in this book with Owen, and they're fighting a zombie invasion. And this is where we meet the Shadow Man for the first time. He then gets caught, put in prison, and is released with the help of Julie's mother, who is a vampire, a very powerful vampire, and her father, who was the old boss of Monster Hunter International, the company. And they give him a shard of this artifact that we saw in the first book, which helps him to kind of look into people's minds and see their history through visions, basically, upon touch. This book was absolutely furiously paced. Keeps you on the edge of your seat. It is first-person narration, which, usually I'm not a big fan of it, but Owen Zastava Pitt as a character of the first-person narrative that you get, and the way that they do the flashbacks where you do get perspectives of other people through Owen seeing the visions of their memories, was really interesting. And honestly, I think this is probably one of the better first-person books I've read, and where it didn't bother me at all that it was in first person. I'm just not a first-person guy. But this book and this series has done an amazing job of keeping me interested in a first-person narrative with a character that I just absolutely adore. So yeah, this book was phenomenal. It was my number 2 for the month. So that just tells you how much fun I had with this book. Just phenomenal. My only complaint is that finding the mass market paperbacks for this series is damn near impossible. And unfortunately, I got rid of all mine in a in a dumb attempt to kind of limit my library. And now they only have the trade paperbacks in stock, which is what I got. But I'm not a huge fan of the trade paperbacks just because of the amount of space that they take up on shelves. But I am looking for the mass market paperbacks of them now because I want this entire series in mass market paperback. But yeah, this is just absolutely gun nut horror action, and it is just phenomenal. Larry Correia has such a way with this series in particular, but just in general. I've read one of his fantasy books. It was fantastic. Apparently he has another series of fantasy books that has just recently come out that I'm wanting to get into. But this guy can write, man. Like, just amazing. Agent Franks, who we know from the first book, we find out a lot more about him in this book, and it just the way that he weaves in mythology and story, and just the marriage of those two things. This guy can plot a novel like nobody's business. And Monster Hunter's Vendetta, I think, is like definitely my favorite book so far in the series. Like, book one was fantastic. It was a great introduction to the series. Vendetta just takes it to 11. Like, just absolutely balls to the walls action. And a book I highly recommend. Most of it does take place in Alabama, but they do go other places throughout the novel as well. And just like I said, this is just a phenomenal book. Really well written, and can't wait to go into Monster Hunters Alpha, which is book 3, because shit's definitely hitting the fan. So stay tuned on that, because this is a phenomenal series. If you haven't started Monster Hunter International and you like first person and you like action horror, go check it out, because it will blow your mind and it will make you laugh. And there's not many authors out there that can write humor that actually does make you laugh. So check out Monster Hunter International by Larry Correia. That's book 1, and then hop into Vendetta, because Vendetta is just so much better. And that's all I really have to say about that. Fantastic book. Check it out. And until next time, read, because reading is fundamental.